Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. Selina Wu's machinations in Port Charles have always been shrouded in shadows, and her latest move suggests that her reach may be longer and more dangerous than anyone suspected. One of the most tantalizing possibilities that fans of General Hospital have been speculating about is whether Selina still has a chance to take out Drew Kane, and whether her secret influence over Brad Cooper could finally tip the scales in her favor. The recent twists and flashbacks have only deepened this mystery, leaving viewers questioning the true extent of Selina's power, her long-term plans, and the deadly network she has quietly been cultivating behind the scenes. Could it be that Brad Cooper, once a peripheral figure in Port Charles's underworld drama, has been secretly trained as a mob hitman under Selina's watchful eye? The possibility is as chilling as it is compelling. Brad's role in the city has historically been complex, often straddling the line between hero and morally gray anti-hero. However, Selina's involvement in his life may have taken a far darker turn than anyone realized. When she initially brought Brad into her orbit, it was clear that she recognized a latent potential in him that others had overlooked. Brad, with his tactical mind, resourcefulness, and willingness to bend rules when necessary, may have been the ideal candidate for a more sinister purpose. Selina, being the tenacious and manipulative force that she is, would have seen this potential as an opportunity rather than a liability. It is possible, if not probable, that she began grooming him quietly, training him in the arts of mob strategy, manipulation, and perhaps even assassination, skills that would make him a formidable asset for her organization. While Brad may have been reluctant at first, history has shown that Selina does not take no for an answer lightly. Her persuasive skills, combined with subtle threats and strategic leverage, are often sufficient to bend even the strongest-willed individuals to her will. If she applied enough pressure, it's entirely plausible that Brad would feel he had no choice but to comply with her demands, no matter how morally troubling they were. The timing of Brad's absence from Port Charles adds further fuel to this theory. Fans have noticed that he has been off-screen for an extended period, and in soap opera logic, such absences are rarely arbitrary. In fact, it is reasonable to speculate that Brad's hiatus was intentional, a narrative device designed to allow him to undergo a transformation that aligns with Selina's agenda. Whether he was training physically, honing his combat skills, or learning the psychological aspects of intimidation and enforcement, the implication is that he has returned prepared for a role far darker than his previous exploits suggested. The nature of his potential return sets the stage for some truly dramatic confrontations, particularly concerning Drew Kane, who has been at the center of numerous high-stakes conflicts. The episode of General Hospital that aired on December 3 provided crucial insight into the depths of Selina's plotting. In a flashback sequence, viewers witnessed Selina finalizing an agreement that Curtis Ashford had strongly advocated for. Curtis, driven by his own motivations and a desperate desire to eliminate Drew, pressed for immediate action, insisting that Drew be taken out that very night. Selina, ever the calculating strategist, assured Curtis that she would handle the matter within a strict 2-hour window. Her confidence was striking, but more intriguing was her reference to the ideal candidate for the task. This phrase, seemingly innocuous on the surface, has led fans to speculate about Brad's involvement. Could it be that Brad, returning under Selina's directive, was the operative intended to carry out the hit on Drew? If so, it could explain why the assassination attempt went awry. Brad, after all, is known for complicating nearly every situation he encounters. Whether through hesitation, moral conflict, or lack of experience in actual execution, he may have faltered at a critical moment, leaving the outcome unresolved and the mystery deepening. Brad's potential failure, or his partial execution of Selina's orders, adds layers of complexity to the storyline. He may have arrived at the scene fully prepared to carry out the deadly assignment, only to witness unforeseen circumstances that forced him to rethink his actions. Perhaps another player was already in motion, someone else taking the fatal shot before he had the chance to act. In such a scenario, Brad's role would have shifted from executor to observer, leaving him grappling with both guilt and uncertainty. It's also plausible that, after witnessing the shooting unfold, Brad chose to flee rather than confirm the outcome. This kind of indecision aligns perfectly with his character history and adds a human element to what could otherwise be seen as cold-blooded mob activity. The ambiguity surrounding his involvement ensures that viewers remain on edge, questioning not only what Brad did but also what Selina may be planning next. Curtis Ashford's recent confessions to Jordan further complicate the narrative. In his conversations, Curtis admitted to hiring Selina to eliminate Drew, only to claim later that he changed his mind and cancelled the wire transfer. While this confession appears straightforward, the surrounding evidence and narrative gaps invite skepticism. Why are there flashbacks depicting the hiring process but none showing Curtis retracting the decision or halting the payment? Soap operas thrive on such ambiguity, and Curtis' statements must be weighed carefully against the possibility of deception or selective memory. It's entirely feasible that Curtis is not being entirely truthful, perhaps out of guilt, fear, or a desire to manipulate the perception of others. This raises a critical question: even if Curtis claims to have called off the hit, could Selina have already set the wheels in motion, independent of his change of heart? The tension between Curtis' words and the unfolding flashbacks creates a fertile ground for suspense, as viewers are left to piece together a puzzle that may be deliberately designed to mislead them. The potential for more flashbacks looms large in upcoming episodes, promising to shed light on Brad's true involvement. If Selina did indeed pressure him into pulling the trigger, these scenes could provide crucial context, revealing both the methods she used to coerce him and the psychological toll it may have taken. Such sequences would not only deepen our understanding of Selina's influence but also position Brad as a pivotal character in unraveling the mystery surrounding Drew's fate. His actions, or inactions, could hold the key to understanding why the assassination attempt failed, who was ultimately responsible, and what Selina's next moves might be. Given the intricate web of relationships, loyalties, and betrayals in Port Charles, the stakes could hardly be higher. Moreover, Selina's broader strategic approach cannot be overlooked. She is a master of manipulation and psychological warfare, and her long-term vision likely extends beyond a single hit. Grooming Brad as a hitman serves multiple purposes. It creates a loyal operative, reinforces her influence over key players in the city, and establishes a level of control that allows her to execute her plans with minimal interference. Her ability to foresee contingencies, plan multiple steps ahead, and adapt to unexpected developments makes her an especially formidable antagonist. The possibility that she has already trained Brad to act as her enforcer adds a new layer of tension, suggesting that Drew's life is still very much in jeopardy. Fans must consider that Selina may have contingencies in place, backup plans, and alternative strategies to ensure that her objectives are met, regardless of any obstacles. Brad's internal conflict also adds narrative depth. As someone who has historically struggled with moral ambiguity, the idea of being coerced into assassinating Drew presents a profound ethical dilemma. Viewers may witness a fascinating exploration of his psyche, as he wrestles with loyalty, fear, and the potential consequences of his actions. This internal struggle humanizes Brad, making him more than just a pawn in Selina's larger scheme. It also raises the stakes for Selina herself. Even the most carefully laid plans can unravel if a key player hesitates, questions their orders, or chooses a different path. The dynamic tension between Selina's ruthlessness and Brad's moral compass is a storytelling goldmine, promising intense drama, unexpected twists, and emotional payoffs for the audience. The broader implications of Selina's machinations also extend to other characters, particularly Drew Kane. Drew, who has faced countless threats over the years, may be confronting the most insidious danger yet, a killer trained and manipulated by someone he has no reason to suspect. The possibility that Brad, a familiar face, could be positioned as the instrument of Drew's demise adds an element of betrayal that is both shocking and emotionally charged. It raises questions about trust, loyalty, and the hidden forces that shape the fates of Port Charles's residents. Drew's survival, therefore, may hinge not just on his own abilities but on his capacity to navigate a web of deceit carefully orchestrated by Selina. Furthermore, the interplay between past and present events, as revealed through flashbacks, underscores the complexity of the storyline. By showing viewers the planning stages, the conversations, and the agreements that set the assassination in motion, the writers are emphasizing that every action has consequences and that the past is inextricably linked to the present. Flashbacks are a powerful narrative tool, allowing the audience to experience the tension, understand motivations, and anticipate potential outcomes. They also provide a framework for unraveling the mystery of Drew's near assassination, allowing viewers to speculate about who ultimately pulled the trigger, why the plan may have gone awry, and how Selina's influence continues to shape events behind the scenes. Finally, the anticipation of Brad's return looms large. Fall previews and insider hints have teased fans with the promise of shocking developments surrounding his character. Whether he re-emerges as a reluctant enforcer, a reluctant hero, or someone caught between competing loyalties, his reappearance is certain to catalyze significant plot shifts. His relationship with Selina, his potential involvement in Drew's attempted assassination, and the moral and emotional consequences of his actions are all narrative threads that are likely to converge in dramatic fashion. The tension, suspense, and potential for betrayal make this storyline one of the most gripping arcs in recent General Hospital history. In conclusion, the question of whether Selina Wu still has a chance to take out Drew Kane is deeply intertwined with her secretive relationship with Brad Cooper. The evidence, while circumstantial, paints a picture of a highly calculated antagonist using a skilled but morally conflicted operative to execute her plans. Brad's absence, his potential training, the timing of the flashbacks, Curtis' questionable claims, and Selina's own manipulative tendencies all converge to create a storyline rich with suspense and intrigue. Whether Brad ultimately acts as Selina's instrument or subverts her plans entirely, the impact on Drew, and on Port Charles as a whole, promises to be profound. The unfolding drama serves as a testament to Selina's cunning, Brad's complexity, and the high-stakes storytelling that keeps viewers eagerly anticipating every twist and turn. For fans of General Hospital, the interplay of loyalty, betrayal, power, and morality ensures that the saga of Selina, Brad, and Drew will remain a captivating and thrilling chapter in the city's ever-evolving narrative landscape. Selina Wu's influence in Port Charles has always been underestimated by the city's residents, law enforcement, and even her closest rivals. While she often operates behind the scenes, her impact resonates throughout every corner of the mob underworld, and her latest schemes may be her most audacious yet. The central question haunting fans is whether Selina still has a chance to take out Drew Kane, and if her secret manipulation of Brad Cooper is the key to her potential success. What makes this storyline so compelling is the interplay of secrecy, coercion, and moral ambiguity that surrounds these characters, creating a tense, unpredictable, and psychologically charged narrative. The possibility that Brad has been secretly trained as a hitman under Selina's guidance has wide-reaching implications, not just for Drew's safety but for the power dynamics of the city as a whole. When Selina initially brought Brad into her orbit, she likely saw him not just as a loyal associate but as a blank slate with immense potential. Brad's intelligence, resourcefulness, and tactical aptitude made him an ideal candidate for training in more covert, dangerous operations. Selina, who thrives on control and foresight, would have recognized the advantages of shaping Brad into an operative who could act decisively on her behalf. While Brad may have had moral reservations, history suggests that Selina excels at persuasion and coercion, often blending subtle threats with emotional leverage to ensure compliance. Once Selina sets her mind on someone, the likelihood of refusal is slim. If Brad were coerced into performing tasks he might otherwise refuse, it would illustrate not only Selina's manipulative prowess but also the psychological hold she maintains over her inner circle. The extended absence of Brad from Port Charles is another key factor in this speculation. In soap opera storytelling, when a character disappears for a period of time, it often signals off-screen developments designed to transform them. Brad's absence could easily correspond with a period of intensive preparation under Selina's direction. Perhaps he underwent physical training to increase his combat effectiveness, or perhaps he was indoctrinated in the psychological and logistical aspects of organized crime. This preparation may have included surveillance techniques, tactical planning, and crisis management skills, all critical for someone tasked with high-risk assignments like assassinations or intimidation. By the time Brad returns, he may no longer be the reluctant, morally conflicted figure viewers once knew, he may now be someone whose sense of loyalty and fear have been meticulously recalibrated by Selina's influence. The flashbacks aired on December 3 provide tantalizing hints about Selina's intentions and Curtis Ashford's involvement in the plot against Drew. Curtis, driven by desperation and personal motives, pushed Selina to eliminate Drew immediately. Selina's calm confidence in assuring Curtis that she would handle it within 2 hours is both chilling and revealing. Her reference to the ideal candidate suggests she had a specific operative in mind, an operative who could theoretically execute her instructions with precision. If Brad was that candidate, it sets up a dramatic tension between intent and execution. A hesitant hitman, regardless of training, could easily complicate the operation, creating opportunities for failure, miscommunication, or unexpected developments. Brad's propensity for moral questioning and strategic hesitation may have contributed to a botched or partial execution, leaving Drew alive while still under imminent threat. Brad's potential role as a hesitant executor of Selina's will introduce significant moral and psychological depth to the storyline. Unlike typical mob enforcers who operate with ruthless efficiency, Brad is a character who balances morality, loyalty, and pragmatism. Being coerced into attempting Drew's assassination would force him into a moral crucible. Every decision he makes would carry the weight of life and death, forcing him to navigate between obedience to Selina and adherence to his own ethical code. This inner conflict adds layers of suspense and emotional resonance for viewers. Every glance, hesitation, or decision by Brad could alter the trajectory of the storyline, emphasizing that human frailty, even within the most meticulously planned schemes, can have monumental consequences. Curtis' confession to Jordan Ashford further muddies the waters. While he claims to have hired Selina for Drew's assassination and later cancelled the wire transfer, the surrounding evidence casts doubt on his story. The presence of flashbacks showing Curtis hiring Selina but none depicting the cancellation raises questions about the veracity of his claims. It's possible that Curtis is intentionally misleading Jordan, or perhaps even himself, to avoid facing the consequences of his choices. This uncertainty amplifies the suspense. If Curtis did not actually call off the hit, then Drew's life is in even greater danger. Alternatively, if Curtis did cancel the order but Selina had already set her plan in motion independently, it reinforces her autonomy, cunning, and unpredictability. In either scenario, the stakes for Drew are extraordinarily high, and the audience is left speculating about what really transpired. Another layer to consider is Selina's strategic foresight. A master manipulator and criminal strategist, she rarely leaves anything to chance. The possibility that Brad was trained not only as a hitman but as a contingency player in a multi-layered plan showcases her meticulousness. Even if Curtis' instructions were rescinded, Selina may have preemptively taken steps to ensure that Drew remained within her sphere of influence, or that an attempt on his life could proceed regardless. The sophistication of such planning is characteristic of Selina, who consistently demonstrates an ability to think several moves ahead, orchestrating events in a manner that maximizes her leverage while minimizing her exposure. Brad, in this context, becomes both a tool and a variable, a player whose compliance or hesitation could drastically alter outcomes. Brad's possible hesitation at the scene of the shooting, or his decision to observe rather than act, adds an intriguing layer of narrative ambiguity. Perhaps he arrived intending to fulfill his role but found circumstances that prevented him from completing the assignment. Maybe another operative or unforeseen factor interfered, forcing him to make split-second decisions. This potential failure or partial execution aligns with Brad's established characterization, emphasizing his moral complexity and human vulnerability. Unlike cold-blooded assassins, Brad's actions are driven by a combination of obligation, fear, and conscience, creating tension that is palpable for viewers. Each scene featuring him carries the weight of uncertainty. Will he act decisively, hesitate fatally, or make a choice that could alter the balance of power in Port Charles? The psychological dynamics between Selina and Brad are also essential to understanding this arc. Selina's manipulation likely extends beyond simple threats. It is rooted in psychological conditioning, subtle coercion, and exploitation of Brad's vulnerabilities. She has demonstrated a keen ability to read people, identifying their fears, ambitions, and weaknesses to bend them to her will. Brad's own personal history, his loyalty conflicts, sense of duty, and ethical boundaries, may have made him an ideal candidate for such manipulation. Under Selina's influence, his hesitations, doubts, and moral dilemmas are amplified, making him both a potential threat and a fragile pawn. This interplay ensures that every interaction between them carries a tense undercurrent of control, resistance, and potential betrayal. Drew Kane, at the center of this storm, is unaware of the full extent of Selina's influence and Brad's possible involvement. Drew's survival has always hinged on his resilience, resourcefulness, and ability to navigate